guys, so just finished watching Doctor Strange. Now, first of all, let me just say this. Usually, with some of the MCU movies, I own some of them on Blu-ray. So typically I've been watching the Blu-ray or the DVD. In the case of like Iron Man and Avengers and stuff like that, I've been watching them on physical media. However, with Doctor Strange, I made the exception because Doctor Strange, Disney Plus has the enhanced IMAX, the IMAX versions of the MCU films, and I don't know, for some reason, I just felt like watching the IMAX version of Doctor Strange, so I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna watch it on Disney Plus. So I just finished watching Doctor Strange. This was a very different direction for the MCU. It's a very different movie for the MCU that they've ever made that they had made up until this point. At least at the point that we are now reviewing them. And I have to say, it's interesting going back and watching it now, having seen, knowing where the MCU is now today in 2025, and watching Doctor Strange, watching this movie today, knowing how important this movie is. This movie is so significant. It's crazy. Like, it's actually pretty crazy to know just how important this movie actually is. I like the character arc of Stephen Strange. It's not as interesting as, like, let's say, a Tony Stark's character arc in Iron Man, where Tony Stark's arc in the first Iron Man is so incredibly interesting from the beginning of that movie to the very end of that movie. But Stephen Strange is a character who has to learn, who is a very arrogant person, but has to learn a very hard lesson about being arrogant and the consequences of that. The hard way. He has to learn the hard way about that when he loses his hands, and then going off and meeting the Ancient One, and you know, the whole lore behind the Ancient One and the Sorcerer Supreme and the Sanctums, and what the sorcerers, the whole mystic side of the MCU that at this point in the MCU hadn't been explored. So, and again, when you watch this movie, having seen the movies that come after, especially the movies post Endgame, once you watch the movies post Endgame and then go back and watch this movie, you realize how important this movie is in particular when you go and watch the movies post Endgame. Because although this movie, yes, it does play a part in the Infinity Saga, and it is kind of important to the Infinity Saga in a way because it does introduce the Time Stone. It's not so incredibly crucial to the story of the Infinity Saga. But when you look at how it introduces the concept of the multiverse, and again where it ultimately goes as far as post Endgame, it is very crucial going back and, you know, when you go back and watch this movie, to know just how important all that stuff is. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed watching this movie this time around. I think it's really great. I think it's a really good movie. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Doctor Strange. And the next movie up is, I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I think the next movie up is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So, very excited for that one, guys. So, stay tuned for that, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.